Have you ever looked around and wondered why some people just seem to attract success like a magnet while you feel, I don't know, just kind of stuck? It's a super frustrating mystery, right? Well, the answer might be a lot simpler and way more powerful than you think. So let's dive into the blueprint for literally reprogramming your mind for success. So here's the game plan. We're going to start by cracking the success magnet mystery. Then we'll talk about the invisible chains from your past that might be holding you back. After that, we'll get into a practical 3-step brain rewiring process, find your real motivation, and finally, unmask the self-sabotage you might not even know you're doing. All right, let's kick things off with that big core problem. What really separates the people who succeed from those who stay in the exact same place year after year after year? I mean, this is the central question, isn't it? We all know people on both sides of this. You see some folks just effortlessly moving forward while you feel like you're just spinning your wheels. What in the world is their secret? Well, it turns out the answer isn't luck. It's not your external circumstances, it's your internal software. The results you're getting in the outside world, they're just a printout, a direct reflection of your mind's internal programming. And that's exactly where something called NLP, or Neuro-Linguistic Programming, comes in. You can think of it like the user manual for your brain that you never got in the box. It's basically a system designed to find the old, buggy code that's holding you back and then rewrite it for the life you actually want to live. So where does all this faulty programming even come from? Well, to figure that out, we've got to look backwards for a minute. We need to diagnose the root cause. These invisible chains that were forged way back in your past. Think about it. Every failure, every harsh criticism from a teacher, every limiting belief you picked up from your family, it all gets stored away. And over time, all those little things build up to create what experts call a distorted identity. It's this version of you that's smaller, less capable, and honestly, less deserving than you really are. And that distorted identity, it's running the show today. This metaphor just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? You might have these massive 1,000-kilogram goals, but if your internal self-image, your self-worth is only weighing in at 30 kilograms, you're never even going to try to lift it. You'll just keep putting it off because deep down, your subconscious believes you're not strong enough. Okay. Enough about the problem. Let's get into the solution. This is the good stuff. A practical, step-by-step process for upgrading that mental software and building that 1,000-kilogram self-worth. The whole process really breaks down into 3 core steps. First, we're going to write down your dreams to basically program your brain's internal GPS. Second, you've got to upgrade your self-image to actually match those dreams. And third, you have to clear out all the old junk from your past to make room for the new. Let's break each one down. So step 1 is all about programming a part of your brain called the Reticular Activating System, or RAS for short. Think of it like your brain's own personal Google. When you write down your goals, and I mean without any judgment or criticism, you're telling your RAS what to search for. It then starts scanning your entire world, filtering out all the noise, and highlighting the people, the ideas, and the opportunities that will get you closer to those dreams. Okay, for step 2, let's try a quick little test. Go ahead and close your eyes for a second. Picture someone you really admire, someone who's super successful. Notice how clear that picture is. It's probably sharp, in high def, maybe even has a spotlight on it. Now, swap that image out and try to picture yourself being that successful. See the difference? For most of us, that image gets fuzzy, low def, kind of pushed off into the shadows. That's it right there. Your subconscious literally doesn't see you playing in the same league. So, how do we fix this? We use something called the theater method. You sit down, get comfortable, and you play a mental movie of you absolutely crushing it. But here's the key. You gotta turn up the dials. Make that picture brighter, bigger, bolder. Really feel the amazing emotions of that success. Then, imagine yourself getting up, walking to that movie screen, and merging with that successful version of you. You're gonna replay this short movie over and over, like 50 to 70 times, to literally burn this new self-image into your brain. And finally, we get to step 3, which is based on a really simple law of physics. The Law of Emptiness. You can't put something new into a space that's already full. Simple, right? Well, the exact same thing goes for your mind. If your mental space is cluttered with old pains, resentments, and limiting beliefs, there is zero room for wealth, success, or happiness to come in. You have to clear the past first. So, once you've started to clear out that old mental baggage, the next question is, what fuel are you going to use to power this journey forward? This isn't just about what you want, it's about why you want it. This is where we find your true, unstoppable motivation. Now, this is absolutely crucial. Not all whys are created equal. Most people have what we call a replaceable why. Things like, I want to be happy or I want to travel. Those are nice goals, but they're easily substituted. If you don't get them, you'll just find happiness somewhere else. A non-replaceable why, though, is totally different. It's a deep emotional driver that is so core to who you are that no other reward on earth could take its place. And this story? Man, this just says it all. A mother helping her injured child feels a sense of purpose that $1 million couldn't even touch. That's the level of emotional intensity you need to find. When your reason for succeeding is tied to an emotion that powerful, that non-replaceable, you become absolutely unstoppable. Okay, so we've worked on our self-image, we've found our deep motivation, but there is one last little gremlin we need to deal with, and honestly, it's a surprising one: the hidden fear of success. I know that sounds completely backward, but just think about it for a second. Failure is familiar, right? We know what that feels like. Success, on the other hand, that's totally new territory. It brings new responsibilities, new pressures. It can even force us to leave our old identity behind. For a lot of people, that is way more terrifying than just staying where they are. So, how do you figure out if this is you? You do something called a why not analysis, and you have to be brutally honest with yourself here. Look at that first column. What are the pains of succeeding? What will you have to give up? Who might you have to leave behind? Now look at the other side. What are the benefits of failing? What comfort do you get from staying stuck? Do you get sympathy from people? Do you get to avoid taking on big responsibilities? This exercise reveals the hidden payoffs that are secretly keeping you right where you are. Ultimately, it all comes back to this one idea. Success feels foreign and uncomfortable because your internal identity hasn't caught up yet. You don't feel like you actually belong in that new reality. And that's why step 2, upgrading your self-image with the theater method, is the absolute foundation for everything else we've talked about. And this brings us to a final, really critical question. There's a fascinating bit of insight from the Hindi language here. The word for present is vartaman. But think about how most of us actually live. Our present doesn't feel like a gift. It feels pre-sent, like it was sent from our past, a constant replay of old fears, old beliefs, and old patterns. So you have to ask yourself, are you truly living in the now, or are you just stuck in a ghost of yesterday? But there's a beautiful way to reframe this. You can change vartaman to vretman, which means a commitment or a vow. Make this present moment a conscious commitment, a promise to yourself that you are going to actively repair the wounds of the past while you strategically prepare for the future you are designing. That is how you stop repeating the past and finally start creating your life.